don't know if anyone can see me. This is Dylan Doskis, your North America account manager. Just wanted to make sure that we reviewed Clipboard CRM, formerly known as Vecta, today with my colleague Jane. And I wanted to make sure we had this available for our Navigator customers solely because this is available with Navigator and also available with ERP One. So as you see here, for those who've seen Vecta beforehand, obviously now it's called Clipboard CRM, but it also has a new UI that will look similar to ERP1's new UI as well. So it's a good intro into the ERP1 UI world for our Navigator customers. And also, if you're looking to migrate in the future, this would be something to cross off the list early, get internal staff trained up on, and not a delay if you were to move forward with the migration to ERP1. So I'll let Jane start it off here with kind of just an overview of Clipboard CRM, kind of the updated features, functionality, and then she'll get right into the system. So Jane, take it from here.
Thank you, Dylan. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. So I'm going to give a quick introduction just to set the scene a little, and then we'll be diving in to actually have a look at a live demonstration of the system. So retaining and growing your existing customers is often one of your biggest opportunities for growth. That's if you can see where that opportunity is. So today I'm planning to explore how Clipboard CRM provides that central portal for managing activity, managing your leads and opportunities, sharing your business vital customer information securely, and giving salespeople complete visibility of their accounts, as well as highlighting where revenue is at risk or where there are opportunities to grow. When you're managing hundreds of customers, it is easy to lose track, as I'm sure you'll all agree, and that might be with missed follow-ups, no or unstructured quote follow-up, which is often highlighted as a big issue for businesses, and probably missed gaps in spend and changes in spend, which can all have a really big impact on your results. And we want to look today at how Clipboard CRM changes that with a single view of your customer base and clear, actionable insights. You'll always know who to contact and why, and really show a strong understanding of every customer, every opportunity or project to help you to consistently drive more revenue. So let's start by looking at some of the challenges in a little bit of detail, and then we'll talk about how we address these through Clipboard CRM. Sales teams are generally busy people working harder than ever at the moment, but often without the full information and visibility that they really need. So are they always as effective as they could be? Customers and sales data might be fragmented across people, systems, spreadsheets, inboxes perhaps, and reports might not be timely or available on demand when you need them. Your people might be working from their memory, from calendars, from spreadsheets, or also having to spend too much time finding information before calls or meetings. And perhaps some of those points might resonate with you and recognized within your own businesses. So what does that typically result in? It typically that's missed sales gaps, missed link sell opportunities, which can all be increased revenue. Often reactive selling, so not so much proactive activity to your customers, perhaps too much time on admin, deals slipping through the cracks, and ultimately a real and often perhaps unmeasurable impact on your retention and growth. So perhaps just think about a typical sales day in your own businesses. You've perhaps got reps on the road or in the office with quotes being requested, customers calling in with queries, opportunities at various different stages. But thinking about where that information is actually held and whether your team are actually all looking at consistent information. Often we hear that some of it's in the ERP, some is in the inbox, some in spreadsheets, and a lot of it is simply in the heads of your salespeople or management. And that can make it incredibly difficult to answer those simple, critical questions, perhaps which customers haven't been contacted recently, which quotes are most likely to convert, Where have we got to with that new project opportunity? What did my colleague agree with this customer? Which customers haven't ordered or have stopped taking certain lines? And without those answers, I'm sure you probably will agree that growth is harder to control. So, really, this is the shift that we're helping businesses to achieve right now. And instead of getting by with slow or limited data access, they gain complete visibility of sales performance, structured pipeline and opportunity management, activity and project management, and with powerful reporting and insights by using and unlocking your existing data from Navigator. And today's very much about showing you how we bring all that together into one clear, structured, and visible tool. So, why are businesses investing right now? So right now, 50% of respondents to a LinkedIn poll that was recently conducted indicated that business feels unpredictable and also full of opportunity. So, and that's in contrast to no one indicating that they really feel that their business is fully under control. So I'm sure many of you have experience of where even small improvements in sales performance can have a real significant impact on revenue and profitability. And that improvement often generates from better insights into exactly where your business is or could be coming from and exactly where you are right now. Industry research tells us that businesses with easy real-time access to customer and sales data typically achieve sales productivity improvements of up to around 20 to 30%. And that's simply by giving their teams the insight to act faster and also more productively, more effectively. So we'll jump into a live demonstration now where I'll aim to show you just how Klipboard CRM brings that structure, visibility and control and helps you to build your customer relationships. We'll look at how those customizable alerts and dashboards provide instant and a full instant insight and a full understanding of your sales and your customers. Having a central customer and contact database that helps you to understand every single customer, every opportunity and project, and also fast I can't speak today, visual reporting using data that's integrated from Navigator. And that reduces or sometimes completely removes the need for those spreadsheets and saves you time equipping your customer facing team with the information they need. Ultimately, it's about giving you and your team the tools to manage from facts, act faster, and deliver consistent results. So we'll dive into the system now and we'll take a look. And I'd be very pleased to take any questions that you've got if you'd like to pop them in the chat as we go through, and we'll address them probably at the end, or Dylan might ask me some as we go along if he thinks that's relevant. So let's take a look. Hopefully my screen has now changed and you're now looking at the Klipboard CRM vector system. So what are we looking at? So first of all, the dashboards, very much dashboard driven, to give you a real strong view of exactly what's happening in the business and where you need to take action on certain things. So the first thing I'm seeing is a dashboard that's showing me my activity, some what I've called here alerts and opportunities, which I'll talk through, the year-on-year revenue, the actuals versus budget versus target. But it's important to mention that these dashboards are really customizable so that you can have a dashboard that's suitable for the individual. So if I'm a salesperson, I might have a much simpler dashboard. I quickly get in to see my territory, my customers, and what I need to work on, perhaps my opportunities and my pipeline. Whereas as a manager, I might also be looking at my team, overall, the whole business, etc. You can also, as well as defining a simple or a more complex dashboard, depending who it's for, you can also define exactly what data each user should see as well. So I might be a salesperson with my own territory, just seeing my own customers and my own sales. I might be a branch manager or a regional manager seeing several territories, or I might need to see the whole business. You can also control a lot more. So you've got complete security. You can stop people from exporting data if you want to. So you have a lot of control over the visibility that people have. And of course, you can switch somebody off immediately if you need to. So much safer and more secure than spreadsheets. And also, I hope you'll agree as we go through, more informative. So what are we looking at? So here's my calendar, here's my to-do list, here's my alerts and opportunities. These reflect my sales insights. So it's highlighting for me where there might be opportunities to fill those sales gaps. So for example, here, customers who are buying flooring products but no tiles. I've actually got 50 of those customers in my territory, and just one click on here will show me who those are so that I can really target where I might be missing out on business. That's just an example. I'm sure if you think about your own business, you can think of some good examples that you might not be able to easily find where customers are taking one product but not another associated product that might need to go with it. So you can easily identify that through these alerts, which can also be used as campaigns. And we do have an integration with MailChimp, for example, to just immediately send a targeted campaign list through to the system to be able to do your mailers. Might be looking at my customers, how are my customers performing in my territory? Have I got customers who haven't ordered for a period of time? Who's in decline? Who's growing? Who are my top spenders? In this case, my top spenders last year and how they're doing this year. But I think we'll start this time with the pipeline. So you might be using this before in that early stage of dealing with the customer, or perhaps even leads or prospect accounts that you don't yet have an account with, you're not yet trading with, but you might want to be starting to log to see where your business might be coming from in the longer term. So I've got just a few examples here. I can set my dashboards so that I can immediately get to my pipeline, see what stage things are at. In this particular case, I've chosen to see this in this funnel view here, and I can see that by stage. By hovering over, I can just see what stage each one's at. I've also got the views by what have we won, what have we lost, who are my key customer opportunities at the moment, how does that split across my sales team, who's working on what. And the beauty of this is that this really helps you to see what needs to be worked on and what business you're expecting in. You can even run it as a report. I've just got one saved down in my favorites here, and I can just run a pipeline report there to see exactly, again, where my business is coming from in more of a report style format. I'm looking at that by customer, by month, what's the expected value, the full value that potential opportunity could bring in for us. And what stage are we at? How far are we through the process towards winning that business? I've got my pipeline stages set with probability percentages at each level. So again, those are customizable to you to match your own sales process of what stages you typically go to win an order. And sometimes that's very simple. It's simply identified, quoted, and won or lost. Sometimes it's a lot. You go through more stages than that to perhaps scope out, measure out, etc. But if I want to see that in a different way, I can look at that however I want. So I might look by individual user, by pipeline stage, for example, and I can just change my view or save it in my preferred view straight away. So I can see that I've got some qualified that are due in next month. I've got some that I've quoted. I've got some that we've just sort of scoped at this stage. So you can really see the data both in the reporting format and in more of the sort of workflow format here as well. And this allows me just to dive straight in to look at any of these stages or any of these opportunities. They're all hyperlinked, so I can just expand on my view. So there we are. I've gone into my list of the opportunities at that particular stage of quoted. I can see who those customers are, what the value of them is. You can see I've got a nice big one there that's due later this month. So I might want to look at that in more detail. So all I need to do, again, it's all interactive. I can just click onto that and that will take me directly into that particular opportunity so that I can see all of the details. What is it about? When are we expecting it in? What products have we or items have we quoted to this customer? What is it we're expecting to actually win? What business are we looking for? Sorry, my screen's just jumped. I hope that's back now. You can log actions, you can log notes within the system here so that you can see exactly what's been done. You can also create tasks and reminders. You can upload documents. So you've got a really good overview of everything that's happening. And as you progress the opportunity, I might be speaking to the customer and they've agreed to go ahead, which is my next stage in my example here. And I can just move it on from there. So it's updated the stage of that particular opportunity now. And then I might go back and work on the rest of my pipeline. So I'll just go back there now. So that's moved out of that stage now. So I've only got one left at that particular stage, but I can go back to my home, look at everything again, or I could look at all my opportunities. You know, I've got lots of ways of looking at this data. It's all one-click stuff. I'm looking by company. I can change it and I'll look by users. I can go back to my more filtered dashboard and work through that in more detail. So my pipeline, my individual opportunities, my reminders are all there in one place and available for me to really have a good handle on exactly where our business is likely to be coming from. That's just a quick overview of the opportunities, and in a minute I'll show you in a customer record as well how easy it is to add those in if you're doing that manually. It might be that it's a more complex opportunity, that perhaps you've identified a project or a site opportunity. So we have an area that is by default, it's called projects here. And that allows me to start from a higher level perhaps. So here I can start from the site or the opportunity. So perhaps you're fitting out a hotel or a new school or a new shopping centre. And you might even be dealing with multiple different customers who are all asking for quotes or for products for that same site. So you might want to link them all into that together so that you can see that as an overall project progress. And a lot of people do this at the moment in spreadsheets or in people's heads. I was speaking to somebody the other day and they said, well, you know, I know the ones I want to work on and I follow them up, but I actually know I've just got it in my notebook. So nobody else in the business had visibility of those opportunities. So all sorts of potential issues with that, especially if you've got multiple people who could be working on it. So again, you can customize this to your own stages, your own workflow, etc. But in here, I can just see the core project details, when it's due to start, what dates we're working towards. Perhaps there are several linked to each other. Which customers are we dealing with in that particular project? So here I've got each individual customer and what activity we've got going on with them. And I can dive straight into that. I can see the opportunities that exist within that particular project and just see exactly how far we've got with those opportunities for that project and the total value that we're currently working on there. I can put tasks, I can put reminders, I can upload documents, I can see exactly what we've done and how that project has moved through the process there as well. So it starts to build up a complete workflow of history of when it's been moved, who's worked on it, etc. So you could have multiple people working on this by setting different tasks or by moving it on to different people at different stages of the project, which many of our customers do now. So again, I might want to produce a report based on that as well. So I've got a number of options for that. I can look here at the overall projects in my screen here. I can do a data exporter to filtered out projects at certain stages, and I can produce the reports. And again, I've got that in my favorites here, and I've got my project pipeline. So I can just have a quick look again at all the projects I'm currently working on, and I've included certain factual fields there to give me a little bit more information about when it's been worked on last, etc. How many opportunities we have and what value and when those are expected to come in. So I've always got that combination of my reporting there, but also my workflow, my work list to see what I actually need to do when. And, I've got these quick filters. I've also got more advanced filters. So you can see that's my one with the next action due is just this one here. So I've got my quick filters. I can save my own filters. So I'm getting straight to what I need to work on. And if I've entered that in and applied it to somebody else, they will immediately get a notification as well that that project has been reassigned for them to work on. So I hope that makes some sense, and obviously happy to look at that in more detail with anybody that would be interested in looking at that. So that was quick coverage of the opportunities and the pipeline that you might be working on with either your leads or more into your existing customers, or perhaps those longer term sales opportunities, and projects which are perhaps another level which might incorporate several different opportunities, several different customers even. There's lots of ways of using that. I see it being used in different ways by many customers because of how they can customize it to their own requirements. So let's go back to my home page again. So I've got all of my sales reporting really. I've got all of that here in one place as well. So I can see in this case, I've got customers. Let's have a look first at items and groups. So I might be wanting to report on, how are my products performing? Do I have any issues with certain product categories or manufacturers or departments, depending how this would use your own terminology. And it's giving me a quick report straight away, and I can see the information in different ways. But I might want to delve in further. So one of the options is to run an inquiry, a report that presents me initially with that same view, but allows me to delve in further and start to manipulate the data to follow my thought pattern through of what it is I'm looking for. So in this case, I've got the sales value this year against the sales value last year by product category. In fact, I've got it at level M manufacturer level there. And I've got the variances here as well, so both by percentage and value. So what I want to do first is see which ones are in decline. So I can just reorder that and see where we might be losing out on business. And again, as I say, I can look at this at whatever level I want to. So I might change that, for example, to product line. So I can still see there the decline in sales. One of the things I might want to do then, let's say I'm aware of that because we've done a bit of a switch on products that we're selling at the moment, but perhaps I want to drill down on the second one there. What do I want to know next? So I can either follow a drill down path and see the particular products there that are causing that decline, or I can actually choose where I go next. So perhaps I want to see which areas, which branches, or perhaps even which salespeople or which customers are causing that decline. Where is the business dropping for those products? So I'm going to look by customer. So straight away there, I've got which customers are either stop buying or buying considerably less than they were last year over the same period for those products. Now, one of the great things about this is I can then use this and interact with this information. So it's not just a static report. I can now decide I know about that top one. It was a big drop, and I know about that one too. But what I'm not sure is going on with some of these other customers here. So what I might want to do is actually put an action against them. So all I do is highlight the ones I want somebody to work on or for myself to look at later. And I can either allocate it to myself, auto assign it to the account owner, or choose who it should go to next. So I could allocate that perhaps to Dylan. I won't, I'll leave it for myself for this time. Might want to call them due to decline on particular product line. So I'm sure with your own ones, you'll know exactly which this is. But I can just say call on decline. So that will put a note in my diary for each of those 5 customers, and it will also flag it against that customer record as well. So I can just save that down. And now I've not only looked at a report, but I've also used it and I've actually done something with it. It might be that I want to see more information, perhaps the profit that we're making per product line and per customer. I can add that in. So you can now see the profit percentage and variances as well. I might want to change that and look at it by perhaps week or month or quarter or something. So I can just actually change my view, choose the periods I want and restart the inquiry. I've now got month by month. So hopefully that gives you some indication. You can see I've got lots of different ways of looking at the data. I can view it by any of the fields that we pulled over from your Navigator system. I can look by any of the statistics that are available, and I can even apply additional filters if I want to. But hopefully that's given you a little bit of a feel for that and what's possible from a reporting perspective. The other thing I can do is just click onto one of these to look at that in more detail. So let's do that with something else. Let's look at a salesperson, for example. So let's see, I want to see how this person is performing and how their customers are performing. So I can just click on the salesperson I want to look at. And now I've got a dashboard for that salesperson. So I can see the trend of what they're selling when. I can see their customers. And again, I can run that as a report if I want to delve into it in more detail. But if I'm doing perhaps a sit down, a review with my salespeople, I can see if there's any particular product ranges they're not selling as well in their area, any of their customers that might be causing concern, and just make sure that we're on top of every aspect of the business there. I'm going to go back to my home page again. So one of the other real benefits of this that a lot of people talk about is actually the time that their salespeople are spending on actually preparing for a visit or a call, or knowing who to call when. So there's a few ways of seeing that. As you saw before, I've got my to-do list here, and by clicking onto that, that would just give me my list of people that I need to call today, or it might be visits. I can look at my alerts here and say, right, I've got an opportunity here because these customers have declined on this product range. I want to go through that list and call them, and I've just got my call list there straight away. You can see the second one there is grayed out because actually I've already contacted them about this, but then I can work through my list and make sure, it's an opportunity to try and win more business. But let's say I'm going in to see a customer. And before I go in to see them, I want to just do my call prep. So I can just type their account number or name up here. If they're already on my dashboard, also, I can just click on to the one that I want to work on. So you've always got those two options: run a report, or click on to the customer name or search on it from the top here. So straight away, it's taking me into that customer, and I'm looking at the opportunities that we've got currently with that customer, what we're working on to try and win the business, just like we looked at before. But I'm now looking at this just from a customer perspective and seeing all of the opportunities for that particular customer. Again, I can put filters in to choose just what's active, or just anything that's due or overdue, or whatever it might be, or more advanced filters. If I've got a lot in there, I might want to put some more filters on there. But as well as that, I can see what they've actually done. What has this customer actually taken? What's happening with this customer? What do we know about them? How do they trade with us? So instead of having to go and request reports from perhaps from finance or IT, or go into the office to get the data, I can see this straight away just by selecting that customer. So I've got what they've spent this year to date, that buying pattern. You can see that a big spike there in November. What else is happening with that customer? Those insights of what's happening. They're down on tile spend, they're down on wood spend. They're actually down in the last 4 months against the previous year, but they're over the rolling year, they're actually spending slightly more. But what is it that's causing the decline? What products have they changed their spend pattern on? So there I can see again that they've stopped buying certain products this year to date, but I'm also then looking at it for the rolling year. So you can choose whatever date ranges are relevant to you here. But what it's doing is meaning that instead of having to go to different places to find the data, I've got it all in one place. So the efficiency, the productivity levels often increase quite dramatically just from having that core information there. I actually had a phone call yesterday from an ex-user of the system who was with the company. He's moved companies, and he said, I don't know how we can work, because we don't have something like this that lets me just see exactly what's happening in my territory and with my customers. He said, I really want us to use this CRM again, in the new business that I'm now working for, because I know I can do a better job. So really, just all that information, and bear in mind again, you can decide what these dashboards should have on them based on the data that you have available. So I've gone right down there, right into the individual items, and I can see what they've stopped taking altogether. Often we find the product category is a good way of looking at it, in case they bought different types of product within that category. And you can go into more and more detail. You've got more information there depending what you want to see. So I've gone right down to each individual invoice that's been raised for that customer. So you've got the detail, but you've also got that high level summary. What else do we know about this customer? So I've got my, we call this details. Effectively, it's like your record card of this customer, who they are, their contact details, what else we know about them. So who looks after them, perhaps what type of customer they are. So again, based on the data that you have in your Navigator system, but you can add data in here as well. You can see I've got a map there, so I can see where that customer is, and I could actually open that into Google Maps, or I did this before, and I was just on another demonstration earlier, and I was trying to do from the UK to it was actually a South Africa, and it was something like 190 hours that it mapped out for me in a few seconds. But I can open that in Maps, get my directions, see exactly where the customer is, and that will help me to just identify more information about the customer and where I might be going if I'm visiting them. Who are my contacts within the account? What do we know about our contacts? And you can hold as many contacts in here as you like. We can bring across data from Navigator, but you can also add fields in here if you want to collect more information about them. So some people collect things like, what's their sporting interest? Do they like golf or do they like football? So that if you're doing any events or anything like that, you can instantly filter out to see which customers to contact. You might want to say record the customer type or their responsibility so that you're always dealing with the correct person. And you can see that in this particular case, Sean is my primary contact there as the buyer. We might have other information that comes across, like their current balances, but you might want to collect other information within the system so that you're really starting to gain more and more valuable information about the customers that are buying from you. And you might see this little tree I've got up here as well. That's when, if I've got a multi-site customer, this would allow me to, this particular one I think is just one site, but I could there have a number of different locations. So this allows me to look at them individually or all together as an overall organization when I'm looking at the activities and the sales results there. So I've also got the activities. What have we done with this customer? If you start to make notes about this, you can see exactly what's happened historically, all the different conversations you've had with this customer. And one thing I should mention is that this is also available and compatible with using on your mobile devices. So whether you're out and using it on your tablet, whether you're using it on your smartphone, you can still see the same information. It just resizes to the device that you're on. But a great thing that has been very popular with a few customers recently is that if I'm on my mobile, I've been in to see this customer, I then want to put my notes in, so I can just click into from my calendar to put my notes in. But if I'm on my mobile, I can actually speak those into the system. So I could just actually speak my notes and it will just convert them into here. So that I've put those notes in and then everybody in the office can see immediately. So if they happen to get a call from this customer, they can see that I've just been in and what I've agreed with them. So it's gives your customers a much better experience. And I've had end user customers of my customers saying we get great service from them. They always know exactly what's going on with us and who we're dealing with. So you've got that full history of all of the activity with that customer. We looked at the opportunities before. I can see any projects the customer's involved in as well. So I can see that particular customer is linked to 2 of the projects that we're working on. And I can upload documents and I can upload emails into the system as well. So everything I might need to know about my customer all in one place, simple to use. Let's say I'm actually just on the phone, I might be office based and I've called the customer and I just want to put a quick note in. Look how simple this is. I simply choose the contact, again, add my notes, and I can still see the information about the customer at the same time. So I'm just working through it, got the details there, add my notes in, save it down. So very simple, very quick, very easy for your people to start getting into those good habits of actually recording everything in a place where you as a business really own that data. It might be worth mentioning as well that you even have an option there if you want to, and if you have the relevant permission to actually print the dashboard as well. So if you did want to save it down to PDF or even a print to take out with you, people don't tend to use prints quite so often these days, but some like to. You can just see everything that's going on, and anything you want to take off, you can just untick from there and include it or exclude it, so that you've got a nice document that you might want to review with your customer about how they trade with you, what are the top items they buy from you, what are they not buying from you anymore? And you might just want to review that with your customer as well. You can actually, when you log into the system, also just log in on what we call customer mode, which if I'm a person who's allowed to see the profits and costs, it just takes them out so that I've got no risk of accidentally sharing any of that information. And I didn't point it out, but you might have noticed that the top item in there on my dashboard, I've got my profit figures there. My print was defaulted to take those out for me, but you can, again, you can add them back in if you need to, for if it's for more internal use. So really strong overview of every single customer. Team monitoring, your budgets, how are you performing over a particular period, whether that's daily, weekly, monthly. You've just got that ability to see everything that's happening within your business straight away on your dashboards there. It might be that you want to look at the activity of a particular person, or your team as a whole. So here I've filtered my dashboard just to look at the calls and visits that have been done by a couple of members of my team. And I've just included myself and Dylan there. And you can see that we've completed some activities there. So one of the things I might want to do is either run that as a report or actually just delve into that a little bit deeper again. I've just lost my mouse here. And sorry, let's just go back. Completely lost my mouse. Don't know where that's gone. But I could actually just click onto that and actually look then at exactly where my exactly what's been discussed and what activities have taken place. So that's a really quick overview of just some of the main capabilities that our customers have found really valuable to their businesses and really made a difference to the efficiency and productivity of their sales teams. And again, a customer I was speaking to last week who's been using this probably now for about 8 months. They've just added a lot more users in. And they've just said that they've started to see a really big impact on their sales already, and that ability to really understand their business in great detail and know exactly what they should be working on. So I've left a little bit of time there to see if there's any questions. I don't know. I don't know if any have come through on the chat yet, but if you have any questions that you'd like to raise, please pop those in the chat now, and I'll ask Dylan to pick up and let me know what those are.
Hey, Jane, I have, can you hear me?
I can. Yeah.
Okay, cool. One was about the opportunity to create their own dashboards as it relates to their everyday workflows and also what that looks like in the mobile view. Um,
Okay.
that was one of them.
Yeah, I can. Let me just go back. And so within the mobile view, I can only give you a bit of an indication on this, but literally it just resizes itself, as I've shown there, for the device that you're on. So it just the menu moves and it scrolls down rather than across, but you can get straight to your activities, your diary. What have I got to work on today? And I might then go straight into that. And as I mentioned before, I could just come in here, click in here, click my microphone button, speak it notes in, complete it off, and then that's done. So you get most of the same capabilities on the mobile as you do on the main system. In terms of the dashboard, yes, you can create them yourself. We provide it with some predefined dashboards that are based on what many of our customers do use, but we do find we always end up just tweaking them a little bit to suit your own requirements, and we do cover that in the training of how to do that for yourselves. You don't have to come back to us every time. Did that answer that, Dylan, do you think?
Awesome. Yeah. And then similar to the dashboards, having different dashboards per department slash personnel user. So individual salesman versus management versus upper management. Kind of the same thing about the dashboard questions.
Yeah, so when we deliver it, we usually have two dashboards. One's a more of a management-led one with more of the type of fields that I had on my demonstration there, and then also a much simpler one that people tend to use more for their sales teams, so that they're just really honed in on what you want them to be working on. And you can, although they're very easy to edit and manipulate, you can also fix them so that the salespeople or the people that don't have permission to edit them can't. So they can still drill in, they can still get to all the information they need that you've defined for them, but you can actually stop people from being able to change them and edit them if you want to. That's totally within your control.
Okay. I think we have additional questions here. Can reports be exported to Excel? Are they formatted similar to what we see in the app?
They are, yes, you have an option with most areas. You can export to Excel, some PDF, some are CSV as well. And yes, the Excel format is quite similar to what you see within the app. Exporting is permission based. So you can let everybody have the capability to export, or you could say only this type of user or only these users can actually export data. Again, it's something within your control.
Another one similar. How are duplicate opportunities identified, and what are the Clipboard CRM options to merge?
Okay, that's an interesting one actually, because at the moment you can make one inactive or close it rather than merging it. But funnily enough, I had that request this morning and I've actually logged a request with our developers to be able to merge opportunities. It's only under consideration at the moment. I don't know exactly what's going to be done on that. But at the moment, you can close one if you see it's a duplicate. Or if you have permission, you could actually delete the duplicate.
Okay. Would they be able to link this to their website to see leads in the Clipboard CRM?
You can. We have an API which has very many, very comprehensive API with endpoints. We have webhooks. So yes, if your website also has an API, you could use our API key to actually put that integration in place. I've just had a customer who's done that themselves. They've just literally had this for about a week, and they've already got it linked to their IT team. Have already linked it to their website, so they're already getting leads from their website straight into the CRM. So it's certainly possible through using the API. Yeah.
Awesome. I think that covers all the questions here. So yeah, I think the last thing would be the M365 sync up with calendar.
Yes. So I don't think I mentioned that, did I? I didn't really go into the actual calendar views. So I,
Right.
I think I went into a list view, but there's also your day, week, month calendar views as well. And if you're using Microsoft Office 365, you can synchronize your calendar both ways. So anything you put, and you can choose which activity types you want in your external calendar. You won't want every phone call, but you probably do want your visits, your timed meetings, etc., to synchronize. So that's just a simple setting where you go in and link it to Microsoft, and it uses their controls to allow the synchronization into the CRM. So anything that comes in through Outlook would also then appear within the CRM. We do actually suggest that you do it the other way round. So you start from the CRM and synchronize it out to Office 365 so that it's automatically always linked to the customer record in the relevant area.
Awesome. I think that's the questions that at least I see. Yeah, so I think that's it for now, question wise. And I think as a just kind of overall view again, we're looking to expand the Clipboard CRM usage throughout the customer base for both Navigator and also future ERP1 customers. As Jane mentioned before, it's good to have Clipboard to have an in-house CRM that Clipboard owns and operates, because then we can take requests from customers directly to build out additional functionality. And obviously, as more customers go on board Clipboard CRM, more requests will come and more functionality will be built out. And again, this will be available on both platforms. So if it's something
Yeah.
that your team would like to take advantage of early, get the training, upstart usage out of the way before waiting for an entire ERP1 migration, we're advising customers to at least proceed with individual overviews, individual questions, as me and Jane are here to help answer and provide any specific, specialized, customized overviews for any of our customers.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, we'd be happy to talk about your own business, because although I've given you a general overview today, we understand that every business is a little bit different. So we'd love to understand your particular needs and see how we might be able to help you.
Awesome. Okay. Well, yeah. So, anyone with additional questions, please, you can reach out to me and Jane directly. I'll be sending a recorded link for this webinar to all those who attended, and making sure that we can, advance any conversations or questions that customers may have. So, I appreciate everyone's time, and I look forward to reviewing with everyone again soon. And thank you, Jane.
Pleasure, and thank you, everyone. And we've given you about, I think, something like 7 minutes of your day back now. So
Yeah.
uh, I hope that's given you a good overview, and we'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Well,